The African continent is made up of 54 countries. The continent is divided into 5 regional zones: North Africa, West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa. What we call Africa countries today are more or less the design of the Western powers. They sat down at the Berlin Conference in 1884 to 1885 and divided the large continent amongst themselves in what historians term the partition of Africa. In this episode of Afro History, we will look at why and how some tribes in Africa are found in different countries. Before the creation of the modern countries in Africa, Africans lived in tribal states, kingdoms and empires. The empires were the Ashanti Empire, which covered some areas in modern-day Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire; the Oyo Empire of the Yoruba tribe, which stretched from parts of today's Nigeria to southeastern part of Benin Republic and Togo. There was also the Mali Empire, Buganda Kingdom in modern-day Uganda, Zulu Kingdom of Southern Africa, Kingdom of Kush, Benin Kingdom, Kingdom of Congo, the Ethiopia Empire, just to name a few. At the peak of the scramble for Africa, different European colonizers sought alliance with different African tribal states. Some also fought for the ownership of different parts of Africa. Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 was the beginning of the modern African countries with borders. Germany, France, Great Britain, Netherlands, Belgium, Portugal, and Spain were the major players in the partition of Africa. The minor players were Italy, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Turkey and Russia. United States of America was invited because of its interest in Liberia, but did not honor the invitation because at that time USA had no desire to build a colonial empire in Africa. The individual European powers joined different tribal states with different languages and culture, some with histories of rivalries and enmity, to form the countries we have today. Using Nigeria as an example, Great Britain joined Yoruba tribes, Igbo tribes, Hausa tribes, the Edo tribe and other tribal states to form one country. In East Africa, Great Britain joined over 10 tribal states to create the country Kenya. Some tribes with same or similar culture and languages were also divided through colonialism. This happened when different parts of the tribal state in question became colonies of different European powers. Example is the Yoruba tribe. Some parts fell to France and is now part of Benin Republic. But the large parts was colonized by the British. Orio, Kwara, Ugan, Osun, Ikiti, Undo, and Lagos got colonized by Great Britain and form part of Nigeria. Eastern side of Ketu is also part of Nigeria. But the western side, which got colonized by France, is part of Benin Republic. Sabe is another Yoruba settlement in French Benin Republic. It became a French protectorate in 1894 through a treaty. In 1903, their king, Obarakemu, tried to align the town to British Yoruba lands, and his punishment from the French was an arrest and deportation to Porto Novo. Today, Sabe is part of Benin Republic. Atakpami is another Yoruba town outside Nigeria, and it's also outside Benin Republic. It wasn't a French colony, and certainly not for Great Britain. Atakpami, now in Togo, was a German colony. The town had Yoruba mercenaries from the Oyo Empire, who together with the Dahomey warriors were contacted by the Akim, an Akan state, to help them free themselves from their Akan brothers, the Ashanti Empire. Talk of the Ashanti Empire. After the British defeated them in the Sogreti War of 1874, the empire collapsed. Some towns in the western sides which formed part of the then Guyaman kingdom didn't want anything to do with Ashantis again. They entered into treaties with France and became French protectorates. During the restoration of the Ashanti Confederation by King Prempeh in 1931, those who were persuaded to join automatically became part of the expanded British Gold Coast, now Ghana. The other Akan states who were convinced by the French are now part of La Côte d'Ivoire, French-speaking neighbors of Ghana. Today, the Akan population in La Côte d'Ivoire is approximately 8 million, the largest in the country, forming 29% of their total population. In Ghana, the Akans form 47.3% of the country's 33 million population. The Akan tribes in Ghana are Asante, Fante, Achim, Kwawu, parts of Akuapim, Akwamu, Buno, Wassa, Denchira, and Sefwi. In La Côte d'Ivoire, they are the Abrin, Bawuli, Anhi, and Apollonia. It's no surprise you can find Kumasi in Ghana and Kumasi in La Côte d'Ivoire. You can also find Anamabo on the coast of Ghana and Anomabu the coast of La Côte d'Ivoire. The Ewe tribe also spread through Ghana, Togo and Benin. They have similar story like other tribes who find themselves divided into different countries created by the Europeans in Africa. The Ewe states in Ghana are former colonies of Great Britain and Germany. The Ewes in Togo are former German colonies and those in Benin were colonized by the French. In Ghana, aside Keitha and its environs which was a British colony, many Ewe towns in the Volta region were part of Western Togoland, a German colony and was one country with present-day Togo. When the Allied powers defeated the Germans in the World Wars, Great Britain and France divided the then German Togoland and shared it. The western part came under Great Britain. They voted yes to join the Gold Coast, now Ghana, in a referendum held in 1956. The eastern side of German Togoland is now Republic of Togo. It was France's gain from the war spoils. There is a similar issue with the Wolof tribe. The Wolof tribe can be found in 3 countries: Senegal, the Gambia, and Mauritania. The Gambia was a Great Britain colony. Senegal and Mauritania were colonies of France. Some Africans hold the view that joining different ethnic groups to form one country has been the bane of countries in Africa. They believe the ethnic groups should have been left to form their homogeneous countries. Like the Akans in Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire forming one country. Ewes in Ghana, Togo and Benin creating one country. Yoruba people in Nigeria, Benin and Togo forming one country. The Igbos should be allowed to have their separate country. The Hausa people of northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria should be one country. Going back in time, the Ewe elites of the western Togoland didn't want to be part of the Gold Coast, now Ghana. In the 1956 plebiscite, they campaigned for no. Unfortunately for them, they lost. Their wish was to stay independent and wait for the fate of French Togoland so they can form one country. A homogeneous Ewe country with the Ewes in Togo and Benin. In Nigeria, there is a similar issue. The Igbos wanted their own country called Biafra. The secessionist state declared themselves independent in 1967. And this led to the Biafra War. Till date, some Igbos keep calling for secession from Nigeria to form their homogeneous country. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is facing terrorism charges from the government of Nigeria. Some people also believe different tribes mixing up to form one country should rather be an advantage. They believe diversity brings about innovation, creativity and strategic thinking as each tribe brings unique attributes.